Community School District. We're here to talk about the teacher leadership and compensation system. And Iowa's new teacher leadership and compensation system is really the centerpiece of the landmark education reform package that our administration proposed and the legislature passed in 2013. Next school year will be the final year of our 3-year phase-in of the most extensive teacher leadership system in the nation. And we're really proud to announce today that all 333 Iowa school districts will be participating in the Iowa teacher leadership system in 2016-17 school year. It was 39 school districts that launched the teacher leadership plans in 2014-15. 76 school districts joined this school year, and the remaining 218 have been approved for implementation for the next school year. That means that about 25% of all Iowa teachers statewide will be in leadership roles. Those are roles like instructional coaches and mentors. And really the purpose of the teacher leadership and compensation program is twofold. First, it's to better utilize the expertise of many of Iowa's top teachers to help improve instruction and to do all that we can to raise achievement. Second, it is to create new career pathways that will help attract and retain outstanding teachers. With higher expectations for all students today, Iowa is better supporting the more challenging work. Iowa is better at supporting the more challenging work that teachers must do. And so at this time, I would like to turn the podium over to Governor Branstad, who is going to tell us more about the Teacher Leadership and Compensation Program. Governor?
Well, thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds. I'm very pleased that all Iowa school districts will join the Iowa Teacher Leadership System next school year. It speaks to the commitment of Iowa educators all across our great state. They have embraced this opportunity for greater collaboration so they can better meet the needs of individual students. Lieutenant Governor Reynolds and I are very grateful for the dedication, and we have seen the opportunity firsthand of what's going on across the state with the teacher leadership program as we visited several schools. We have already visited schools like Benton Community, Southeast Polk, Rock Valley, and Dubuque. And earlier this month, I visited Spencer School District as part of our spring leadership tour. Later this month, Lieutenant Governor Reynolds and I will be at North Polk, MFL Marmac, and Eastern Alameda school districts. Teachers, teacher leaders, and principals tell us that the teacher leadership system is transforming their work and making real difference in their school districts. In Spencer, for example, we heard about how professional development is no longer a one-size-fits-all approach, but is tailored to help individual teachers meet the needs of the students in their classrooms. This connects directly to the governor's 2016 Future Ready Iowa Summit that starts upstairs at 9:25 in Hall C today. All of this is something that fits together. We must help all students graduate from high school genuinely ready for college or career training and provide more opportunities to explore career opportunities. Great teaching in every classroom is critical to accomplish both of these goals. And now I'm really pleased to turn it over to Ryan Wise, I'd say Dr. Ryan Wise, Director of Department of Education, who actually wrote his dissertation for his PhD at Harvard on this subject and is doing a great job of leading the efforts at the Department of Education for the state of Iowa. Ryan Wise.
Thank you, Governor, for that nice introduction, and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds for your leadership and the opportunity to speak today. Today's announcement marks a major milestone in the development of Iowa's teacher leadership and compensation system. With full participation from every school district, Iowa has become the unrivaled national leader in tapping our greatest school-based resource, our teachers, to strengthen instruction and improve student learning. Support and enthusiasm for TLC runs deep. Last week here at Hy-Vee Hall, the Iowa Department of Education hosted nearly 1,000 educators, including superintendents, principals, teachers, and teacher leaders from 175 school districts. The purpose of this convening was to help districts transition from planning to implementing their local TLC plan. I fully anticipate these districts will experience similar outcomes to what we've seen to date. First, teachers feel their voice is being heard in new and important ways. They feel a greater ownership over decision-making, particularly as it relates to designing and delivering professional learning for their colleagues. Second, those teachers taking on these roles feel energized and inspired. In turn, this enthusiasm is spreading throughout their buildings. Third, new teachers are experiencing more support than they anticipated. In addition to having a mentor, they're taking advantage of working with coaches and model teachers. And finally, teachers are experiencing increased opportunities for collaboration and are engaging in data-driven conversations with their colleagues focused on student achievement. In addition to each of these positive trends, teachers and administrators in all of the schools I've visited have also demonstrated a commitment to continuous improvement. The Iowa Department of Education shares this commitment. We've built a strong statewide network of support in partnership with the Area Education Agency System, School Administrators of Iowa, the Iowa State Education Association, the Iowa Association of School Boards, and higher education. In addition, we will assist school districts in developing end-of-year reports to demonstrate the impact TLC is having at the local level. We've also contracted with the American Institutes of Research, or AIR, to develop a third-party evaluation of TLC. We'll use these results from the local and statewide evaluations to strengthen the system over time. As we focus today on creating a future-ready Iowa, we know that teacher leadership will be central to the success of this effort. Now, I'll turn the podium over to Superintendent Sherwood. Mike?
Dr. Wise, Lieutenant Governor Reynolds, Governor Branstad, thank you for your work and efforts in cooperation with the legislature in putting forth this initiative and for your continuing support. In addition, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to share some thoughts on what we hope to accomplish at the Webster City and Northeast Hamilton Community School Districts through the opportunities provided through the Teacher Leadership Grant. The goal for all our work is to improve student achievement and to prepare students to be productive citizens. We see the Teacher Leadership Program supporting this work. Over the years, we have experienced a number of initiatives with varying degrees of success. We believe this initiative has the potential for significant success for the following reasons. The focus is on instruction. It is at the classroom level and directly supports the work teachers do at the classroom. It provides another layer of support as teachers continue to move from isolated teaching environments to collaborative environments. We do not see it as a separate initiative. It supports our ongoing work with the state academic standards, what it is we expect students to know and be able to do. It provides the data used to drive instruction. How will we know students can do the work? And with multi-tiered systems of support. What will we do if they can do the work, and what will we do if they cannot do the work? We have the opportunity to address the need for all students to be college and career ready through the support and expertise provided by teachers funded through this grant. Our hope is that we can finally find the appropriate balance in our education system, one that stresses the need for students to not only master content, but then to take that content and apply it to real-world situations and problems in partnership with our community, with businesses, and with industry. For both the Northeast Hamilton and Webster City districts, the Teacher Leadership Program will fund instructional coaches, data coaches, technology coaches, and a technology integrationist, including mentor teachers in a combination of full release, partial release, and extended day contracts. Our area education agency partners play an important role in providing the professional development and resources needed for these positions. We appreciate their work and their support. The conversations I've been involved with involving the Teacher Leadership Grant from year 1 and year 2 districts have been very positive and very supportive. And the conversations around year 3 continue to be very productive. We've been given a direction. We have had local flexibility in developing our plan, and we have been provided the resources to support it. It is now on us to make the most of this opportunity with the Teacher Leadership Grant. We look forward to the work. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And thanks to the governor and Lieutenant Governor and Director Wise for all their work and all their support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now open it for your questions on this subject. Yep.
It used to be in professional development, you go somewhere and have your professional development experience off campus. If you have it on campus, is there a demonstrable difference in the speed at which you change your processes? Since you're not going somewhere and then trying to bring it back to the environment?
I think our practice, at least at Webster City and Northeast Hamilton, has been able to keep our professional development local. And we've been shifting to team-based professional development for a number of years. I think this provides the local expertise with staff we have in the district to provide more direct professional development right at the classroom level. And we bring in outside expertise as needed with the support of the area education agencies.
What is the technology integration?
It is a full-time position that'll work directly with our teachers on integrating technology into the classroom. Webster City and Northeast Hamilton are both a one-to-one district. And with that one-to-one technology, we want to make sure it's fully integrated in the classroom where students get full use of that technology at that level. So it will be somebody to work directly with classroom teachers in integrating that into their lessons.
Well, it's important because it gives us an opportunity to improve student achievement by really effectively using the leadership of teachers. And in the area of professional development for teachers, one of the complaints that we've heard over time is oftentimes this is done in large groups and it's kind of a one size fits all. And now as part of the teacher leadership and compensation program, it's tailored to the needs of the individual teacher. And oftentimes those needs are, how do I get to this child that's having a hard time learning how to read or having some other challenge? And so it's really tailored, and it also uses more collaboration. Instead of a teacher feeling isolated in the classroom, they have colleagues that come in and assist them. And instead of, one of the big concerns going in was, would teachers feel threatened by this? Or would they look at this as something that's really a help or an assistance to them? So it's not designed to judge or evaluate teachers, but rather to assist and help them to be even more effective in helping their students to learn.
Governor, as you look back over your years as governor, both the first time and the second time, how would you rank the teacher leadership program as an achievement for your administration and a goal accomplished?
Well, you may recall one of the big initiatives back in my first go as governor was the three-phased educational excellence program. And phase one provided higher beginning teacher salaries, and that was good. And then phase two provided across the board. But phase three was the professional development part of it. And it was started out, I recommended 50 million. The legislature only provided 40 million. And over time, it was totally eliminated. Now, we learned from that experience, and that is we made this a standing appropriation. So now it's automatic. And so the $50 million the first year, and then this year it's 100 million, next year it's 150 million, and then it rolls into the school aid formula. So the good news is it's not going to go away. This is permanent, and it's something that is going to be embedded in the school aid formula going forward, and it really provides additional resources to reward and assist teachers that take on more responsibility. And the response that we've been hearing as we go across the state from teachers and administrators has been very positive. So I'm very excited about it. It is the most extensive teacher leadership program in the whole nation. We've gotten some national recognition for it. We know it's a work in progress. We want to continue to improve on it. Last week with Ryan Wise, I spoke to it's called the commission or?
Yep, the Commission on Teacher Leadership and Compensation.
the Commission on Teacher Leadership and Compensation, which is broadly representative group of teachers and administrators and school officials. And they asked me the question, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, how will we know how successful this is? And I gave my kind of off the cuff answer, which is, well, we'll see that by measuring student achievement. So if student achievement has gone up, and also teacher retention. We lose some of our best teachers during the first 5 years. But then I went back to them and I said, why don't you put together about 4 or 5 criteria that we can use to measure the progress on this? And so that's kind of the assignment I've given them. And I'm very hopeful that can lead to a consensus approach towards measuring how we're doing on this. And I think that's the real question people want to know. I think a lot of educators are somewhat cynical because they've seen so many programs over the years designed to improve education, but then they seem to go away. And this is something that we look as being long-term, permanent, and we'll have the funding to be able to sustain it over the long haul.
Do you call it the most important achievement of your years as governor, or what is the most?
Well, it's too early to judge. It's too early to judge. First of all, we're in the second year of a 3-year phase in. We really won't know what's the most significant achievement in educational improvement until probably 5 or 10 years from now. But I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful. And what we're doing today, this program that we're focusing on today, which is Future Ready Iowa, is designed to coordinate what we're doing in education with what we're doing in workforce development and economic development. So and the Lieutenant Governor has been a real leader in STEM. That's an important part of it because we know a lot of the great jobs of the future are in science, technology, engineering, and math. We want to make sure that we're preparing Iowa students and the future Iowa workforce for quality careers and jobs in the future. So it all kind of fits together. And what we're doing in the Teacher Leadership and Compensation Program is just one of the pieces that goes into this Future Ready Iowa. Other questions? We can take questions on other subjects as well.
Would you call the legislature back in special session and veto the bill if they don't fund Planned Parenthood? That's one of your priorities.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to speculate on things like that. I've indicated my interest in working with them, and I've made a recommendation that is consistent with what the House Republicans have been working on for the last couple of years. And the idea is to provide family planning money in a way that doesn't fund abortion providers. I think this avoids controversy, and it's a good way to provide the services for needy women at the same time not getting into that controversy. And I'm hopeful that it will be approved by this General Assembly.
In general terms, do you support the idea of legalizing fantasy sports?
I think it's a subject that needs to be studied, and we need to know what the ramifications of it would be. My biggest concern is that the legislature, and what I've been hearing is a lot of unanswered questions. And I think those questions need to be answered. There needs to be a thorough review and study. I think the Racing and Gaming Commission could do that. My concern is I don't want to see a repeat of what happened with touch play, where the legislature legalized something and the public said, oh, wait a minute, this goes, and there's all kinds of unintended consequences, and then they had to go back and repeal it, and it cost the state a lot of money. So let's be very careful about this subject. I understand that there's a lot of interest in this among young men in particular, but I want to make sure that it's carefully studied and reviewed, and we know what the implications of it are before we embark on it.
The head of the Board of Regents has said tuition will go up all semester because of the lack of funding at the state level. Do you agree that's the appropriate response to the legislative budget?
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of the progress we've made in reducing student debt in recent years. You know, we had an unprecedented 3 years of no increase in tuition, and the increase that we're looking at is relatively modest. Yeah, I understand because the legislature is now looking at a level of funding below what I recommended, which was, I think, $8 million for the regents. They feel that uh, they're going to need to deal with that shortfall. I think they need to be careful and try to keep tuition increases very modest so we continue to reduce student debt.
Representative Pat Grassley said last week that part of the reason why there will be a tuition increase is because the regions need to be evaluating what where they're overspending and where they could be cutting costs. Do you agree with that?
Yes, actually, the Board of Regents did a significant study on this, and they identified areas where the regents and where the institutions could, for instance, working together in buying supplies and equipment and other things that they can do to become more efficient. So I certainly think the regents ought to look at implementing those recommendations that came out of that comprehensive study on efficiencies. That would be one way, obviously, to try to control costs and avoid the need for tuition increases.
Why do you think that they haven't implemented those? They didn't implement those before asking for more money.
Well, I think they are implementing some of them. I do think it's taken a little longer than we'd like to see. But listen, I was president of Des Moines University, and there's no place that changes harder than at a university. There's huge resistance to change and doing things differently. So the regents, and so I do understand it from my experience at Des Moines University. You got to work through a lot of committees and a lot of approaches to try to build consensus, and change is one of the hardest things. Somebody even used this analogy. They said, change at a university is kind of like trying to move a cemetery. You got to know where the bodies are buried, and you got to be real careful.
Governor, back on the tuition issue, you said that you recommended $8 million in the region.
Yes.
I think you would have given out to slow a tuition increase. I mean, before the downturn, before the updated revenue estimate, I'm sure that the legislature was proposing more than $6 million. What did your budget, revised budget do? Were you still prepared under the revised estimates to back $8 million from the region?
What we did is we said we would work with the legislature on that. So we didn't specifically spell out item by item where those reductions needed to come from. Already, they had agreed to 2.25 supplemental state aid, which was below the 2.45 that I recommended last January and this January. Also, there is a revised estimate on Medicaid. And those two, I think, and then there's about $20 million or something in that neighborhood of additional reductions. And we said that we didn't want to create any controversy, and we wanted to work with them. And so we have really left it to the legislative appropriations process to determine that last 20 million. But remember, that's on a over $7 billion budget. So, we respect the fact that they're working through the legislative process, and it has to be approved by majority in both houses. And we want to work with them to resolve this in the best way possible, recognizing it's a challenging and difficult year. But I was governor during the farm crisis of the 80s when it was even tougher. And remember this, land values have dropped 23% in this state. Just to put that in perspective, that 23% reduction in farmland values is more than the total value of all the commercial property in the state. So that has had a big impact. And with that, we're also seeing, for the first time in a long time, an uptick in unemployment. And that's primarily due to loss of farm income, farmers not buying equipment, and so farm machinery manufacturing jobs, which is important and significant in this state, we're seeing additional layoffs in that area. So we have to deal with the financial reality of what's happened. Obviously, I've really been a strong advocate for things like the renewable fuel standard and for exports of our products because those are critically important to jobs in our state. And we've had some good things happen, like the $3.6 billion investment that's being made in wind energy, and we're excited about the opportunity in the area of the biochemical tax credit, and that's going to help us bring more jobs to the state as well.
Governor, there's some concern among lawmakers about severe black mold and asbestos at the law enforcement academy. Is that an issue you're aware of?
Yes, I was recently at the Law Enforcement Academy and had an opportunity to have a review of that, and I know they're working on that issue, and we're looking at what we can do in the future, and also what they can do with the National Guard there to deal with this issue. I've had personal experience with black mold at Terrace Hill, so I know it's a serious thing that we have to deal with, and I want to give the Law Enforcement Academy credit for, once they identified it, working very carefully to protect the safety and health of the people that are going through the academy. I hope so. I think, we've worked with the legislature all year on this. We're very pleased with the bill the House passed with strong bipartisan support. It won 2-1, 66-33. We think the Senate should at least debate that bill. And if they want to amend it or offer alternatives, that's fine. When we put together our plan, the Lieutenant Governor and I, along with Secretary Vilsack, said this is a framework. And the House passed bill, which it does sunset in the year 2029, does provide a comparable amount of money between now and 2029 as to what we recommended. And the distribution of that to help with both municipalities and also with the non-point source of pollution is very comparable to our recommendation. So we think it's a very important and significant step. We think it would be a mistake for the Senate to go home without debating that issue. So the bill has passed. It's in committee in the Senate. We hope that they would debate it, and there's time to do that. And I'm very hopeful that they will approve it this year. Thank you.